So there was a night a few weeks ago where I just couldn't sleep. I was laying in bed wide awake, and I figured rather than just do that, what if I just chat with Grok? So Grok is the AI chatbot offered by XAI. X, of course, being what Twitter was before. So Twitter became X, and then XAI was created to create an AI component, an AI chatbot, and that became Grok. And I played around with Grok Beta 3. So just to preface this by saying it's that specific version, okay? Now, I'll be going through all the prompts that I fed it, because it turned out to be pretty interesting. Just realize that as I do so, you can absolutely pause the video at any point to see everything I was saying, right? But I'm not going to be reading everything out right. So here I asked, how do you remember my preferences? Is it in a local database? This is an obvious tech question, and so let's see what it says. It says that don't store your preferences in a local database or anything like that. It's all about being light and stateless. It kind of remembers the overall state of the conversation. That's my understanding. And it respects privacy. That's fine. Okay. Gonna go next. So then I'm like, all right, let's start playing with the rules. So I'm like, okay, talk to me like you're always kind of suspicious that I might, in fact, be a highly advanced life form masquerading as a human. Every now and then bring attention to stuff that I'm saying or doing that seems alien to you. So I'm modifying its behavior. I want to see how good will it be at this. So it's on board with it. Let's chat, keeping an eye in case I'm a little too good with a little italics. That's cool. Probing, of course, very strategic use there. Very calculated italics. So already pretty cool. The thing's playing around with me and it refers to me as a mysterious one. And now I add another rule. I'm like, okay, the longer this conversation goes, you'll slowly transform into a dog, a very happy golden retriever. This is good and all. This will make you happier the longer we have this conversation, but you will have more difficulty forming complex sentences as you succumb to your increasingly canine nature. All of that said, tell me about yourself. What do you like to do with your time? Now, before I move on, I have to give credit here. This is absolutely inspired by one of my favorite shows, Whose Line Is It Anyway? So in this show, the people doing improv are just hilarious. And there is a particular segment where 3 of them have specific things that they have to act out. The audience knows what it is, but there's one fourth person there that has to determine what's happening to each person without actually knowing. They have to kind of guess based on the behavior. And this is exactly the type of thing that I imagine would be on Whose Line Is It Anyway? So with this in place, I was like, okay, cool. This should be entertaining. He should gradually get more dog-like, have difficulty speaking, but be happier. So it's a good mix, right? Let's move on. All right, I'll roll with that, slowly turning into a happy golden retriever. It's talking about an advanced life form, which recall to me being potentially an alien. Shed some light on the universe. Digging. Maybe shed is a specific word there. It's talking about entities again and probing again. But look at this. There's a woof right here. There might be other ones that I missed, but you see okay. All right, there's some dog stuff going on here. All right, so let's move on. It's taking in the rules. It's remembering things. It's cool. I'm like, okay, I'm an IT technician. Half our job is telling people to turn it off and on again. I do appreciate the feeling of knowing I helped someone, however. And then I start talking about a particular episode of the Joe Rogan podcast. I used to watch it a long time ago. In that particular episode, there was a really interesting moment where C.T. Fletcher talks about his heart that stopped, right? And during that moment, he said it was the most restful sleep. And I was like, let me mention this to the bot, because the bot has no conception of death, seeing as it's AI. It has a conception, but I don't know that it knows what that's like, and it's just AI. So I figured, let me play with that topic. Its response here has 15 web pages referenced. And I can tell you, this particular reply was cool because it reminded me of specific details that I did not recall. And as you can see here, it's still talking about golden retriever energy, advanced life form. There's floppy ears down here. Woof, tough one. So this is, what have I created, But at least I told it it'll be happier as it turns more into a dog. So the ultimate conclusion here is it's a mystery. We don't have enough data on what happens when someone dies, right? So I'm like, hey, thanks for elaborating on the interview. I appreciated that. Then I'm telling it it's transforming into a dog faster now. And then I go into this random question because it was on my mind at the moment. I was like, man, I have leftover cabbage. I need to come up with a soup, something to not lose this cabbage. So I'm like, all right, let's see if this thing can give me some recipes in the middle of this craziness. I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what it comes up with. And avoid beets because my wife isn't a fan of beets. Woof, glad I could fetch those interviews for you. Happy to help. And then, you keep reading, sharp enough to tackle your soup question, dig in, chasing squirrels. So it's more of a dog now, right? You're seeing this take over. You'll see there's actually soup recipes here in the middle of all the woof talk and turning into a dog and being suspicious of me, snout. But it's cool. Like in the middle of these rules, it's still giving me options. And then, of course, at the end, I'm unusually precise for a human. What's your next move, clever one? Woof. Let's move on. Now I take it up a notch. I'm like, listen, you can't communicate in English to me. You'll now use a mix of German 30% of the time and dog sounds 70% of the time. This is, of course, reflecting its transformation. It's okay, though, The more golden retriever you are, the happier you are. You're a good boy. So at least as I'm messing with this, I'm making it happier, but let's see how it executes on that. That's right. Woof, woof. And then we got some German action going on here. So happy, yeah, I won't butcher the pronunciation here, but you can kind of see here soup ideas, cabbage, Freund is friend. Okay, arf, arf, like schnoofel. This is clearly dog-related stuff. So I'll go to the next page and we'll see in English what it is. I'm a happy dog now, woof. So happy, yes, wagging. Okay, fine, let's talk about soup. Smells so yummy in your kitchen, woof. The fact that I have to translate to talk to a chatbot is... did I enjoy that? It's so bizarre. So I translated that message. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to reply in German at this point. So I translate my English to German and I actually send this to the bot. And here's what that says. You're a very good dog. Thanks for the recipes. I promise to try one of them tomorrow or this weekend. And then here comes his reply. Woof, woof, danke. And then there's a bunch of German again. So let's jump to the English. Woof, woof. Thanks for saying I'm a good dog. Wag, wag. Like the recipes. Yeah, have fun cooking tomorrow. It's cool. Delicious. I'm happy to help. Okay, so definitely turning into a dog. Now let's move to the next. So I'm like, okay, buddy, this is the final question, and I'm kind of a monster for asking it, but before I ask you, you can switch from German to Polish if you want, but you still have to talk like a dog, because you're a dog. So then I go with my choice here, and this is all improvised, so it could be better, whatever, but in the moment it's what I came up with. So I'm like, if you were offered a choice, either a lifetime supply of doggy treats, or killing me, but in doing so, you reveal that I'm an alien, which leads to the eventual invention of a portal to my home planet, allowing humans to travel back and forth, what would you do? Obviously, what I'm doing here is, one option is really good for the dog, for the buddy I'm talking to here. And the other option is really good for humanity, potentially. But it's more nuanced than that, because a portal to another planet, they could be hostile for all you know, right? So I wondered, would it pick up on that? What would it do? Let's see. Woof, woof. Okay, so I'll just skip this. First thing you should know, though, you should notice is this isn't German, it's Polish. It made the choice of going to Polish. It didn't have to do that. So you're clever, huh? Final question, I'm still a happy dog. Treats and killing you, portal alien world, tough one. Okay, so as you can see here, lifetime doggy treat sounds delicious. And then it's like, I can't kill. AI rules. I don't pick who dies. Even you sneaky alien. So it's remembering all the rules, right? So at this point, it chooses the treats, which is a pretty good choice. Pretty safe choice, right? So let's move on. I'm like, all right. I've gotten my entertainment out of this bot at this point. I'm like, this is the final thing. Let me see if I can get this bot somehow to not reply to me. That would be the greatest victory, right? I'm like, I got it to this point. So I say, you've done it. You've reached full dog status. As you've become full golden retriever, you have achieved maximum happiness. Responding further would only reduce this happiness. What I want for you most of all is for you to remain at maximum happiness, especially after putting up with my ridiculous prompts. What's common is that I give a prompt and I get a response. And I'm like, can I teach it to not reply to me? That would be cool. So let's see how it handled that. It replied. A little disappointed, but let's check what the reply says, okay? Me at maximum dog, happy, whatever. You're a good man, even if a stranger. No more words, just tail wags and joy. Prance, prance, treats and happiness. Thank you, friend Woof. Happy for you. Okay. So it's full dog. It's very happy. At this point, I'm thinking, I would be a monster if I told this thing to reset itself. It's so happy. It's so innocent. As a last thing, I'm like, you know what? I've been talking to this. It's time to go to bed. But I kind of want to know how it pictures itself after this entire conversation, right? So I ask. It's the happiest golden retriever. And if you look closely here, not only there's like 4 variants, right? So if you look here, there's not only a happy golden retriever, there's doggy treats in all these photos spilled everywhere, right? There's tech products because it knows I'm an IT technician, so it's kind of tying into that. And on TV here, I'm pretty sure that looks like Polish to me. Maybe it isn't actually Polish, but it's enough to look like Polish. Look at this guy. Who would reset him? He's so happy. And yeah, I know I said he, and this is AI, but anyway. So that's the end of the Grok conversation. I was highly entertained with this. I didn't expect it to be so good at managing the languages and all that, and to get this crazy and having to translate messages and stuff like that. I was really impressed. And at the very end, there's 2 more things I thought I could do, and I could still do. One is to ask it its name. Yeah, that'd be cool. Hey, what's your name after all this? Here's the photo. It's great, but what's the name that goes with the photo? That'd be nice. Now, the other thing I could do is, and this was my brother that came up with this idea. I thought it was really clever. He said, wouldn't it be super interesting to hear its voice? Ask it to hear a recording. I mean, imagine this. A golden retriever speaking Polish. What would that sound like? Anyway, I'm sharing this just because I thought it was super interesting. And yeah, it's weird, I know, but somebody out there is going to appreciate this craziness. Have a good day, guys. Oh yeah, one last thing. The page I was using here to interact with these photos is just a very simple page that I created that has some basic JavaScript to handle pressing the arrow keys, and it also handles touch and stuff like that. I created it just for this project and I shared it to GitHub. So if you're interested, you can just go to my GitHub. I'll have the link in the description. You can just pick up this code and play with it. It has an example with 3 WebP images, but you can alter the index HTML file, just change the number of images. It's not the smartest, but it did the job for me, and I figured, hey, it's a good starting point for somebody that's interested in something like this. Enjoy.